Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good twilight, good dawn, good whatever time it is for you. It is a little later than I generally do these readings, so please excuse my lighting. I hope the cards will be visible here. But that said, we're going with the however the rhythm guides, right? So, I had been preparing to do readings for the weekend, and I was considering the energies that I wanted to kind of acknowledge and consider, or not consider, but what I wanted to look into energetically for the upcoming week. So it is the beginning of May. Beltane just passed. Happy Beltane for those of you who observe that holiday. I spent a lovely weekend doing Beltane activities, and I am really pleased with all the things that I've gotten done as far as spring cleaning and things like that. So I hope that you all are doing the same, as it is about mid-spring or so, and is the season for cleaning out, clearing out, bringing in new energy, bringing in all those, not bringing in, I said that wrong, but observing what's coming in as far as seeds you may have planted or ideas you may have been producing recently or things of that nature. So, I guess with that energy in mind, that's a good place to begin pulling cards. So, we'll see how many I pull. Probably 3, but possibly 2. So, I've already shuffled my deck, so I'm going to pull from the top and see what happens. And I think I'm going to try doing this today. Yes, I like that. Okay, so I will do one more because 2 will fit in there quite nicely. Ooh, so we've got the antelope and wheat, nourishment, the fox and ivy, adaptability. So immediately upon seeing these together, I am feeling a sense of, summer is coming, and there's been a lot going on with the different situations. I've brought these things up before. There's war and things going on with government and politics, and people are starving and hungry, and there's protesting and yada yada yada. I honestly have absolutely no idea what's actually going on because I don't watch the news. So I do know that some airline has closed down recently. I saw that on the news, or not on the news, I saw it come up on my YouTube algorithm very briefly. But that's about all I know. So, as we're coming into summer, I know that we can expect to see the results or the consequences of these various engagements going on. I'm talking about politically, specifically, but also just in general. Just in general, people may have gotten into different situations, circumstances, made certain deals, or done certain things in their lives, and maybe now some of those things are coming to fruition, maybe coming to a clearer picture, right? So, in terms of certain things going on, expect to see in the summertime possibly things having to do with higher prices for food, especially gas. I believe I've heard some whisperings and twitterings of that sort of thing being seen over the past maybe month or so. I've seen a lot about gas prices going up because of the war situation in the Middle East. So this nourishment card here with the wheat and the antelope that comes from Africa, where the land we know is abundant. Nourishment is going to be a very important aspect of people's lives this upcoming summer. And it's going to be important to be adaptable to the situation as it may change quite drastically over the summertime. And so, also, while I'm here speaking of the seasons, wheat tends to appear over the summer, but then you harvest it in the fall. And over here with the fox and the ivy, that ivy is brown, and in the screen here, that the way I'm seeing it, I can't really see the vines on the ivy, so to me they look like falling leaves in the autumn, right? And then you have these colors. So I'm seeing a bit further down the line here, a little past summer into autumn even, and it's looking as if it's going to be important to be adaptable throughout the summer and into autumn, because nourishment is likely going to become an issue for some people. However, there's a positive side, as always, to these readings. For those of us who are on the other side, on the other timeline, the Faerie Royal Indigenous Collective, nourishment and adaptability has never been a problem for us, right? We have learned to survive in a reality that has genuinely, very tenaciously tried to starve us, has starved us, right? In many cases, many people do experience actual starvation, right? But there are those of us who have learned to adapt to that kind of a situation. So we know how to find nourishment in difficult times and in difficult locations, right? We're very adaptable that way, like the fox. We're nimble, we're quick, we know where to look, okay? Very intelligent. And in these days, even though on the outside it's going to be looking very difficult, and in some cases it could appear to be even difficult in your own personal circumstances, but I believe I've said before in another reading, I was even talking about autumn. We're seasoned. We do this every year. Autumn and winter is not a new thing. It comes every season. It's cyclical, and you'll even look at that wheat over the antelope's head there. It's in a circle, and look at the seashell here to the right of the cards. Also another spiral, right? So we have a lot of cyclical energy here, talking about the seasons. So even though we're in spring, we're looking already ahead to the times of summer, fall, next winter, so forth and so on. But that said, we're not thinking that far ahead. We're just keeping it in the top of our minds, just pinned away for when it's time to really consider those things. But right now, as we're in mid-spring, moving into our summertime, we're really considering how are we nourishing ourselves right now, because it is springtime. And for many of us, especially those who are in the northern regions, the fruits and vegetables may be starting to come in some locations. And so you're really looking towards your nourishment and really looking towards adapting yourself around nourishing yourself in a more, I don't want to use the word organic here, nourishing yourself in a way that is more aligned with nature here. So you are learning to work with the seasons, learning to work with your environment, you're learning to adapt as the seasons change and as the weather changes and as things change from day to day or week to week, month to month, so forth and so on, right? So that's the energy we're in here in our mid springtime. And so that's very lovely, looking at your nourishment, looking towards how can you nourish yourself beautifully, even maybe with very little resources, right? You know how to make something out of nothing with this energy. It's very lovely. That's what adaptability is all about, right? Voila, I just made this thing even though I only have some rice and one string bean. You've got a 5-course meal here in front of you. Amazing, right? So that's the energy we're in, and that's the energy we are working with as we move forward into the upcoming May and June time. So, that said, I hope that is bringing somebody clarity. I hope that motivates you and inspires you for your week upcoming and the next upcoming days as you go about your week. And I will see you in my next reading. Bye.